Hi, sweetheart. Today we need to talk, okay? I know you probably have been struggling with guys lately, trying to find a good man, but you seem lucky. You seem like you're not having the best chances. Either the guy is a sucker or the guy that you want doesn't like you. Maybe your father didn't tell you this, but I'm gonna help you out. There are a lot of differences between you and a guy, and I want you to understand that. The way you understand things, the way you feel things, it's quite different from a guy. This is what you want to do. First of all, you need to understand that you're valuable. Okay? You have power over most of men. It's not the opposite. Because you have an energy that can improve a man's life too. Increase the likelihood of them being successful or being the best version, but just tapping into your feminine energy. So that energy that you have, you don't have to give it to anyone else than just your future long-term partner. How do you find them? It's going to vary depending on what you believe, okay? But there's several things that you want to align. First of all, morality. You both need to be in the same page. Because if he believes in something quite different than you, you're probably going to have a lot of friction when you're dealing with this specific topic. Let's say you have a problem with people that eat meat because you're vegan. You are probably going to have a lot of issues when dating someone that has like for meat, that they like meat. And that's okay. That means that they're not aligned with your moral values. One of your moral values could be honesty, and they're not that honest. They don't seem honesty as something good. Then you shouldn't date them. The other example that we can have as something that you 100% need to see in a man, it is what they're looking for, what direction they're going for. Now, I'm telling you this because there's a lot of men nowadays that they're aimless. They don't have a goal. That's completely fine if you want to be drifting away and living in a life where there's no rhythm, a certain path. Okay? If you're adventurous and you are okay with that, then great. But when you're having a couple with you, when you're having a partner, you need someone that aligns with you, what your goals are, and help you instead of deviating you. Might be the case scenario that they want to be a famous football player and you want to be a really good doctor. There's certain things that you can not align with, but you can work. That doesn't need to match everything up. But you do need to be aware that if you don't have a certain line, hey, we're going to plan this, I want this many kids, I want this future for me and my husband, then you're not going to last longer. And if you do, you might never come to the conclusion of what you desired, of what you truly are meant for. So don't believe into this illusion that by being with them for a long time, you're going to change their mind. Coming from a guy, will not. We'll probably stay on our track, on our path. The other thing you want to make sure of is their character, who they truly are. And I tell you this from experience. There's a lot of guys there that they will lie, they'll manipulate, not because they're inherently evil, but because being bad can get you closer to your goals. Being a liar gets you closer to whatever you want to get from other people. faster. It's not the best, not the proper way, and I condone that. So what do? Because there are some pretty good manipulators out there, pretty good liars. There's one basic rule. You can read dozens of books on psychology. That doesn't mean that you're immune to being manipulated, to be misled. Because we are humans, and we're influenced by emotions whether we want it or not. Here's where comes the decision for you to take. By not acting upon those emotions, what are you going to do with them? Okay? How do you determine if it's a good person for you, has a good character? The most important thing is give them a time frame of 6 months. 6 months of seeing how they act upon others, how they react on stressful situations, how they react into new environments, new people, or with your family, friends. Because what you truly want is to see themselves, the true self that they have. Because we all want to show a perfect version of ourselves when we're dating. We don't show our weaknesses because that seems unflattering. We're all gonna hide it to a certain point, but then the mask is gonna break down. Maybe they're being real all the time, but you do need to be sure that if you're wanting a long-term relationship, that this guy is the right one for you. He doesn't treat right the other people that he is surrounded with respect, with love, with admiration. Let me tell you, he'll probably do that to you. Maybe he doesn't do it right now to you because he is in this honeymoon, or maybe he wants to get something out of you. But he will do it in the future. So spare yourself the headache, the pain, to learn the hard lesson by following just this advice. Because I can assure you, if you don't, in the future you will be hurt. And maybe you don't learn it. Maybe you will still wondering and having hatred towards all men because of this bad experience. So save yourself the time and don't engage with those kind of people. The other thing, when I was talking about the 6 months rule, don't give access to your body. And I mean it. There's a common belief that lust rushes and love waits. And this is true. I'm going to explain it why. From a chemical point of view, and psychological point of view, when you have relationships, intercourse with someone, you bond chemically with them. So it's a stronger bond than just the typical serotonin and happiness. It is way harder to pull away from a situation where you already engage into those kind of activities. You shouldn't engage. You shouldn't give freedom to any man to have access to your body in a sexual manner unless you are 100% sure that you want them for a long term. Give them a frame of 6 months. 6 months knowing them and how their character is. Maybe you have a lot of drive, but I'll highly suggest you that hold into that. Because you'll be hurt if the guy is not the best for you. If he only wanted you for that reason. And I'm not saying that all guys have the same way of thinking. Some of them, they only want to use you. Some of them, they truly want to love you. You cannot determine that until you know them really well. Giving them 6 months into showing themselves is enough time for you to also determine if you want something beautiful out of this. Because once you engage in intercourse, is going to create this beautiful moment of energy where two souls collide. And even if they're not the best and they don't last long as a couple, they'll still have this kind of connection. And I'm not judging you. You're free to do whatever you want. But you need to be aware what the consequence of your actions are. And I'll still love you for that. You're still worthy. And nothing that you do will change that. I'm doing and saying this for you. Another thing you want to see is the friends. The people that he spends most time will influence them. Not always the case scenario that this is a reality, but to a certain degree it will. Another thing that I will recommend you with this is to ask him who do he admires. And this can go for a boy too. Go to any people that you want to meet. There's a common myth that you're the 5 people that you're surrounded with. The truth is, you are what you admire. Because you mirror certain qualities or behaviors from others that you have inside of you. And by seeing that mirror, you show it off. Be careful. But I'm gonna tell you this. Loving is scary. It's one of the scariest feelings you will ever feel. And yet one of the most beautiful and bravest thing you can also do. Don't be afraid to jump in. Although I will tell you, you need to be careful. Find the right tools. Because you cannot choose who you fall in love with. But you definitely know who you can love. And I know this is a lot of words. I know when you're in the situation that you're in love with someone, you're not thinking truly. Be aware of that. Write them down. Write those emotions down. Feel them. Understand them. Understand that everything you're feeling right now is because you want a connection. A once in a lifetime connection maybe. Or a pure, wholehearted connection that can make you feel valuable. And if you're pursuing love from this point of view, I'll suggest you to hold. And to approach love as something that you can add to, not take from. Because when you're seeing love as a need, then you'll feel like if you don't have someone to love or someone that loves you, you're not valuable. This is a common problem when you're having low self-esteem. Going to the main point of boys and how to deal with them. Put them online. Show character. Don't be afraid of speaking for yourself. Be elegant and be polite. That's the best way to put boundaries. Talking about boundaries, the best way to show them off is this has a representation of how much you love yourself, how much you value yourself. Too many guys out there are bad. Maybe not because they're actually bad people, but they never learn how to deal with ladies, how to deal with a woman. And I don't blame it. Maybe they didn't have the tools for that or no one taught them. And it's not onto you the responsibility of changing that. You can if they're open-minded to it. You can give them the opportunity. But remember, you're not responsible for that. And be aware that if you're going to help them changing, do it from the bottom of your heart, with the thought that whatever happens next, you'll be okay. That you help them because you love them. Even if you break out in the future, you'll still love the fact that you help them to be a better person without only thinking about yourself. There's going to be a lot of guys that they don't know that might be willing to learn. Show them patience, love, and everything will go smooth. There's a lot of guys that they don't think that they should learn anything that they already know. You should avoid that. You're not responsible of any of their previous experiences or learning experiences. You're not their teacher. If you want to take their role, be aware of the consequences, but only if they truly want to change. There's a lot of guys that they will give you love unconditionally. They'll care about you. They'll hold you dear. Those are the ones that you should focus on, because they will improve your life more than you can ever imagine. They'll be willing to die for you. And I expect you to do the same for them when it comes to the case. Love is really complicated. And everyone will tell you how to do it. Everyone will tell you how to react, how to be better at relationships. My best advice for you is to take it as it is. It's an experience that is unique. A path that no one ever walks with previous knowledge. No one goes and reads 1,000 books on love or romantic novels and get it at the first try. That's not how it happens. That's not realistic. And if you love yourself, if you truly hold you dear, you'll see that your standards are up. You shouldn't lower them. You shouldn't lower your standards for anyone or anything. Because everything you want in this life, you can achieve it. I do gotta tell you, being entitled is not the same as having the standards. There's a common difference there. When you're having standards, it is a guideline of what you're looking for because of your own experience. A common example that is quite popular now is I won't do 50-50. A lot of girls won't do 50-50 when it comes to paying the date. And that's completely fine. That's completely fine. What you want to do with your standards is not to look into what other people think, but what you truly value. Because maybe you truly don't care if you pay for the date or not. You truly care that when you get into your house, you find a place of peace, of love, and reassurance. You need to analyze your standards into what you truly value and need, not what other people will tell you. Because everyone will tell you what to go for, what to expect. But you need to figure it out by yourself. And by seeing others making mistakes. So you don't have to. You don't have to date the cheater in order to know and understand that you don't like to be cheated on. You don't need to date a liar in order to understand that you want communication. That you want a connection based on truth and love. And baby, it is really complicated. Like I mentioned previously, I'm not even the one to tell you. No one knows. What I do know It's a wonderful feeling to be loved and to love someone. And it is a blessing. And dear, I hope you find this useful. And I'm probably gonna make another video for you to help you understand more of what's going on in the boy's mind. So you can break those barriers. Maybe miscommunication barriers. So you can have a closure and maybe improve your relationships.